if you could take a moment and go to thegrowingbanddirector.com to give at least $5 or $3 a month, and it helps the content continue to be created for you to help our profession grow. Let's go back to our scheduled episode. Excelsior Music Publishing is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. The new concert band and jazz ensemble music releases from Excelsior Music Publishing are here now and available from wherever you get your band music, featuring works of all levels from an incredible composer roster. Listen, browse, and get inspired at excelsiormusic.com. That's EXCELCIA music.com. Tuner Caddy is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. The Tuner Caddy was created by Mark Casperson, a band director with over 38 years of experience. Like most of us, he was tired of dropped tuners, wasted time, and students fumbling with their gear. So he did what any passionate teacher would do. He invented a solution. Mark designed the original Tuner Caddy after testing 57 different versions. The classic model fits right onto most music stands, holds any tuner, and even has a pencil holder. Then he added the Student Pro, a slimmer, binder-friendly with magnets, so it sticks right to the wire stands. And now there's even the TCT-60M, a full tuner and metronome combo that's transposable and includes a 6-foot mic, super practical and more affordable than most other options out there. The best part is that these tools don't just help kids stay organized, they actually improve how we teach intonation and tone. Tuner Caddy is being used by some of the top programs in the country, from Texas to Virginia, and it's even been on stage at the Midwest Clinic and Music for All Festival. You can find Tuner Caddy at tunercaddy.com, at local retailers, or through Music and Arts, Sweetwater, and Premier Music Teaching Aids. They even offer support for educators writing grants. Check them out at tunercaddy.com. Do you spend valuable time all year correcting students' hand position instead of focusing on the music? Thumb Gummy solves this. These simple, cost-effective teaching aids fit on trumpets and trombones to guide the right hand into proper position, reducing tension, improving form, and giving tactile feedback so students can focus on playing, not adjusting. It's easy to use, comfortable, and designed by teachers and players, not just for your beginners, but for older students as well. Join thousands of students and bands already seeing the difference. And keep an eye out for our new clarinet thumb rest coming soon. Visit thumbgummy.com to learn more. That's thumbgummy.com. Welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast. This is episode number 273, and I'm here with Dirkjan van Groningen from the Netherlands. He's the owner of Percussion Books, Show and Marching Music, and Band Music Center. Dirkjan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty fine. Thanks for the short introduction. Actually, I need to change a minor thing. Since
Okay.
2 years, the company name is Concert and Marching Music. We've
Ah,
changed that 2 years ago.
all right. Concert and marching music, not
That's
show
the
and marching
one.
music. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. So you're coming from the Netherlands. You're my first guest from the Netherlands. Just going to enjoy listening to you talk. Completely honest. I love the accent. Can I ask you like a Netherlands history question that
Yeah,
I've always been wondering? And if you don't know the answer, like I understand. So you're Dutch, right? Is that what they
yeah.
say if you're from the? So I'm American because I'm from the United States of America.
hmm
Where does the word Dutch come from if you're from the Netherlands?
That's a good question. Um, I don't know the answer exactly, but I've been to Canada as well in the Ontario region, and I've marched in a Canadian drum corps called Dutch Boy. So that was totally in my place, and but I actually don't know where the word Dutch
Hmm.
is coming from. But I can check it out in the meantime. Maybe
Okay.
I'll find the answer somewhere online.
Or maybe somebody listening knows and they can send us a message. I
Yeah,
just,
why not?
if somebody's from France, they're French. If they're from England, they're English. And if you're from Netherlands, it's Dutch. So I just never understood that when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I had to do my homework just a little bit better for this one.
Okay, so let's start with a sort of a short backstory of who you are and what you do for the audience who doesn't know you.
Yeah, maybe it's fun to talk about a little bit how I started this, because in what I know of music education in the USA is that everything is happening in schools, and it's quite a funny when I tell my American friends that we don't have that much school bands, but the most bands are community bands,
Hmm.
and that's where I started at about 8 years, and 2 years after that, when I was 10. I marched my first parade on a national holiday, and that's how it started. My mom said, "Here's an ad in the local newspaper. they're searching for junior members with this band, you got to go there and see what they want, and that's where it started at 8 years old.
Hmm, that's awesome. And I appreciate
Yeah.
that you're using English because if you're using your native language, our conversation wouldn't go very far.
Maybe
Um,
I'll try some short words in between
well,
for you
your
to guess.
that would be fun. So, and I think a lot of people don't understand this that the band within the music classroom, within the school day, is a very U.S. sort of model. That
Yeah, it is.
a lot of places around the world, that is not a thing. So, those of you who don't know that, we need to be grateful for what we do have, even though sometimes it's definitely not perfect. Are there any other ways? What is the music education that happens in the Netherlands if it's not band? Is there music in the day at all?
We have some schools. I have a good friend here around the corner who is having music in schools, but it's not like that big as in the US. There are, I think, like if you compare the Netherlands, like the size of the country with one of the U.S. states, it should be Maryland, like the same size. So it's a very small country, one of the smallest in the U.S. In Europe. And as I said, there's not that much music education. What I remember when I had music class in school, we were listening to records of Mozart and um, maybe some pop music like the Rolling Stones or Beatles, and that was it. And we had some music theory, and that was it. And there are some schools they have bands, but the most of them they don't have. And we have actually something which is called a music school, and that is where I teach as well. So kids come after school, and if they want to learn
Hmm.
an instrument, they can come to a music school, and they can have private lessons first. So most of them who want to study percussion with me, they're getting private lessons first, and then when they reach a certain kind of level, they can go to one of the community bands in my town to become a member. So it's maybe it's just a bit the other way around. They're
Hmm.
getting private lessons first. When they reach a certain kind of level, they can join one of the bands.
And then what about at the college level? If people want to go on and study to be, say, a band director and they're from the Netherlands, how do they need to leave the country to do that, or are there colleges who do that?
Oh, we have like when you're want to specialize in music, we have conservatories, and I think they have they in the USA as well. But is it more like integrated in a college or in a university?
It depends. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, so the conservatories in the Netherlands are specialized in the music education, so you can become a music teacher, general music teacher, or conductor, or specialized in your own instrument. And I went to the conservatory here in Zwolle, where I live. It's about in the center of the Netherlands, and I started my education in 93, and in 98 I graduated in classical percussion, and the year after that I graduated in jazz and pop drums.
Right. Um, so as somebody who starts percussionist from a very young age, and obviously you well versed in all of the percussion idiom and all that, if this is a question I didn't prepare you for, what are some like overall tips if you could give to the audience listening if they're starting percussionists? What are some things that you should make sure percussionists do in the beginning as they're starting?
The fun thing is that a lot of students who come who want to start studying percussion, they only think of a drum set.
Mhm.
In a lot of people's minds, percussion is just a drum set. And I have a lot of kids who come in who are interested in a drum set because they don't have to go to a band or something. They can just be a drum set player if they want to. And most of the times, I try to get them interested in the other percussion instruments as well. And surprisingly, a lot of drummers are um, they know something about melody, and they can go pretty well on a marimba or a vibraphone. So Um, but if you want, um, can you repeat your question again? Because
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I was just looking for advice as you're starting percussionists. If people are starting percussionists and maybe they're not percussionists at all, just some general thoughts that you had
yeah.
around beginner percussionists.
When I started studying percussion, that my mom gave me um, sent me to a piano teacher.
Hmm.
Because that's what I actually needed most when I started. Because I started as a snare drummer in the marching band and I played some drum set. And then I want to go to the conservatory and then I had to learn melodic percussion. And that was a huge problem.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
so my advice for any percussionist, whatever you're going to do, listen to your mom and take a piano teacher.
I love that. From my experience, this is what I know. The strongest programs in the U.S., the mallet percussion is a huge part of what they do in the beginning. I know
Hmm.
a lot of programs don't even start kids on snare drum. It's like, nope, you're all gonna play mallets because rhythmically they're gonna get so far ahead of everybody else. And when you get to go to do a concert, having 48 snare drums is not really a lot of fun. So, when they're learning simple three note melodies, if they're learning the rhythm on the marimba to speak first, they're gonna learn that so much faster, and then the snare drum stuff is gonna come. So I even know some programs that don't even allow percussionists in the first year.
Okay.
They want to force them to read music. So there's some programs that even you have to play a wind instrument for at least a year, and then you move to percussion. So that's not how we do it, but that's how some do it. So I love your message of like piano or reading, actual music and not just rhythms and playing on a keyboard instrument.
Yeah, I think that's the best base for a percussion teacher as well, because you're going to arrange as well later on,
Yep.
and you need some melodic and piano skills.
Okay, so we're going to get into some of the stuff that we have prepared for today. So my first question for
Uh-huh.
you is, how do you make percussion education easier for the music educators with what you do?
Yeah, that's a fun story because I realized when we were talking about this podcast that I'm in the percussion business for over 25 years. And when I started my first paid gig where I was responsible for teaching the drum line of a local marching band, I realized that it was hard to keep them together, keep them on the same page, because the most of the snare drum players were more advanced than the bass drum players and the cymbal players. Um, and they were on a complete other level. And I had to find something to let them listen to the music and better understand the music. And as I said, I'm 25 years in the business already, and the first software I got my hands on was Encore, and I think that was before Finale or Sibelius already. I don't know if you know the heard of it.
I haven't. Nope.
No, and I started putting my exercises into Encore and making so the kids were able to listen to the exercises before they were coming to the rehearsal, and I even put the recordings on cassette tapes, and
Hmm.
I purchased a very special Yamaha double cassette deck to dub the tapes, so everybody in the drum line had their own tape and recording of their own instrument. And then I realized this is really good because they can hear what they need to play, and it makes it easier for them. And later on, of course, now you can use all those virtual instruments, and I use virtual drumline and other sample libraries. And actually, I still do the same like I did 25 years ago, but a little bit more professional, on a little bit more professional base. So everything I've written in Finale or in Sibelius is coming out with the sample library, and I make a special mix for all the instruments in the percussion ensemble. So they have a recording of their own part, and they have like a kind of karaoke recording where
Hmm.
their own part is muted. so they have the feeling how their own part should sound, and they have the feeling like their function in the ensemble with the karaoke part. And that's what I still do, and I do have a lot of positive reactions from band directors who are using these tracks in combination with the software, which is coming along with the tracks, to save them time and simplify their preparation process.
Wh-
So
Where where can people get this stuff?
most of the stuff is now available on our my special US website, which you mentioned earlier, which is bandmusiccenter.com. And if they found a percussion ensemble piece they like, they can download all the stuff immediately they need. They can download the PDFs for the score, for the parts, and there's an extra option on the website to download the practice tracks and the software as well.
And I'll put that on the show notes, that link. So if anybody wants to check that out, they could just go on the show notes
Yeah,
and look
really cool.
and look at it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'll mention for people who disagree, listening is not cheating. We want kids listening to music.
Uh-huh.
So it's not bad for them to have a recording of their part to listen to. Um, I think I just want to share what I do on Sibelius
Hmm.
every year when we have a marching band score that our students are starting to learn all their parts over the summer. What I'll do is in Sibelius, I don't know if you do something similar in Encore, but I basically export the recording like it's a full recording. But then if you
Hmm.
go down to the mixer, I'll put everything I think at 20%, and then I'll put just the clarinet one part up at 100, and then I'll make a recording of that. And then if you just move the clarinet part down and then move the alto sax one up, all of a sudden you get these recordings where you can hear one part extra, but they can still hear the other parts in the background.
Hmm.
And then I'll even do a slower version and a faster version. I just do two versions for our students, so if they want to work something out slower, they can. Just in case anybody's never done that before, that's how I do
I,
it.
I think it's a similar idea. And of course, I'm using Finale now, but Finale is going to end. So I need to learn a whole new software. So
Mm-hmm.
I bought Dorico, but um, I'm not really experienced in it at the moment, but
Yeah.
I think what you do is the same idea with and mute the tracks or make them just a little bit more softer, and I think it works really well. For the I don't make a recording in two. I did that before, but I stopped doing that because I found a really great audio software, which is freely available, by the way, and maybe nice to mention in the show notes as well. It's called Audio Stretch, and it's for Android phones and Apple iOS phones. And I think you can use it free for like a 3 minute or a 4 minute recording. And there's a great function in it to slow down the tracks with certain kind of percentage. And it's there's even a function in for horn players to transpose it
Mm-hmm.
if they need to, or if they just want to practice it in another key signature or whatever. So that's a really cool software I use, and I send it along with the orders so people can download it for free and use it. I use it with my private students as well, and it's going to be some kind of sport because I have like for my in my snare drum method I have like play along tracks as well, and then the first student comes in and he says I can play it in 100%, and then the next one comes in and he says
Mm-hmm.
I can play it in 110. So it's encouraging as well,
Sure.
and it gives a lot of confidence for the students as well that they reach like a higher percentage.
I did want to mention too, I think YouTube has recently come out with a way to slow things down as well. And I found a Chrome extension, if people haven't heard about this, called what's it called? Pitch Bender, I think, where you
Yeah.
can actually, if you open it and you're on a YouTube video, you can put it up and down a whole step, half step, and transpose stuff, which is fairly crazy. It's not in place of your stuff. It's just another way that YouTube has kind of started that
Yeah,
too.
I use YouTube as well because
Yeah.
that's also awesome that you can slow down and speed up the tracks. But I didn't hear about the pitch version. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's I think it's
Great one.
you have to add it as a Chrome extension. So you said we want to talk about the process of using recordings and software to speed up and the looping of recordings as well.
Yeah, that's actually the same software I just mentioned. You can they have the functionality of placing an A point and a B point, and the space in between you can loop. So if there are a certain kind of bars who are really hard for some kind of student, start at measure 28 and put A point over there and 30 B point, and then it loops automatically. And you can even slow it down, I guess, while looping.
Mm, that's great.
That's
Um,
also awesome because you know that there are a lot of students who have a problem with just a small part of the music or longer parts, and I think looping is very good for that.
Yeah, it's also great when you're doing warm-ups or playing anything with a backing track. I mean, I've even
Hmm.
done it where like we're working on an eight on hand or whatever you're doing, but when you've
Yeah.
got a pop groove in the back, another way to do that is just find something at the tempo that you want. But that whole play along thing is really fantastic. In the band side of things, John McAllister has some of that people use on his website. But I love that you have these things that are for sale and available. And on the websites, can people listen to some of your music as well? And can you talk a little bit about your arranging? You've kind of written for us a number of different companies.
Yeah, for the most of percussion ensemble arrangements I have are score play videos. So people can watch the whole score and listen to the music while it scrolls by. And for some arrangements, we only have MP3s, but the full recording, because you have a lot of companies where you're just getting 1.5 minutes of a recording and
Hmm.
just a little piece of the score, and then it's always hard to find out does it suit my ensemble, does it suit my band? But it's getting better with a lot of companies, so that's why I think it's very important to have score play videos so people can see the complete arrangement and the instrumentation. And I also have like filters on the website where band directors can find search on the amount of players or the level of the composition or the arrangement. So I think those are the most important ingredients to actually find what you're searching for.
Yep. Um, and you mentioned that you wanted to talk a little bit about the research that's been done on using
Mhm.
these play along tracks. What have you found?
Nah, it's like some people are a bit skeptic still about this, and does it really help? And how do you do that? And I send you the blog where I've did some research about, and there are different professors who did research about working with recordings in high school, in middle school, and yeah, it's significantly proven that it really helps to use recordings, play along tracks, and all kind of stuff. And I'm still amazed that a lot of fellow band directors are not using a play along track
Hmm.
if it's even when it's available. Because I've written a snare drum book, and it's here in a lot of colleagues of mine here in Europe are using my method book, and I added a lot of play-alongs. So for every etude and every technical exercise, there's actually a play-along. And recently, I put them all on YouTube for the same reason you just told, that they can speed it up and slow it down on YouTube as well. But I have a lot of colleagues who are using my book but forget to use the play-along tracks, and I don't know why, but
Yeah, people should check out your YouTube channel as well. We'll put that in the show notes as well. So there's like four show
yeah,
notes we're
really
going to
cool.
put in there, and we'll put in the blog in there as well.
Yeah.
So last question for you: how can you expand this concept in the future and simplify the preparation process? So what do you have kind of coming up that you're excited about?
Yeah, this is what I actually really excited about, and what I've been telling, and it's I'm really focusing at the moment on reaching band directors worldwide, and I know they're all really busy, so it's hard to get the message out that you're working on this way, and I need to find a way to get this message to band directors in Europe and in the US. And that's why I've been traveling to some trade shows in the last couple of years. I went to Basic last year in November, and next week I'm traveling to a friend in Iowa who bought a lot of music recently to be there at the Iowa Bandmasters convention to spread the word. And I think that's the best way of meeting fellow music educators and let them see what you're doing, telling about what you're doing, and be enthusiastic about what you find out. Because I can be enthusiastic, but I need some more stories of band directors who are working with it as well, and um, let other people know that they're enthusiastic as well.
I love that. Dirkjan, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you
appreciate
as
it.
well.
So last question I have for you. Is there a band piece that uses percussion, as many of them do, but one that you really like a lot and that you wanted to share with people?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, Maybe people don't know, but my company here in Europe is also providing distribution for roll-off, tap space, and C. Allen publications. So that's what I actually do here in Europe. And lately I found a piece from a composer, Jim Casella, who's the owner of Tap Space Publications. And he wrote a piece called Stormbreak, and it's for percussion ensemble, but there are optional wind parts with it as well. So if you're a band director and you want to put your percussionists in the spotlight, you should definitely check out the piece by Jim Casella called Stormbreak.
Beautiful. Dirkjan, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on the show.
We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.